Hi friends, I gifted myself this beauty last year on 1st March 2021. Feast your eyes guys. Friends, as on date I have ridden this beauty for over 10,000 kilometers now, and yesterday I got its third free service done. Friends, I will not delve into the technical details of the bike. The same are listed below. You may Google any further specs you want to know. Here I just want to share my personal experiences with this bike. But before that, I just want to share my personal experiences with two wheelers. I was born with a passion for two wheelers, and I have been riding two wheelers for over 40 years now. I don't claim to be an expert, but I'm madly in love with the two wheelers. I've been riding scooters, mopeds, bikes since 1979 when I was in class 10th. I've done many cycle expeditions in Lahore Spiti, Himachal, Uttarakhand, and I've been doing motorcycle expeditions in hilly areas, including 1500 kilometers in Leh and Ladakh area. Right from Hero Motors to Harleys, I've ridden many Indian and imported bikes. I've even done a very long test drive of a American company Indian Motorcycles cruiser bike costing over 30 lakh rupees. Not that I can afford these bikes, but I just rode them to gain first-hand experience. After riding this bike of Indian Motors and the Fat Boy of Harley, I realized that these bikes are not meant for Indian roads. They're so huge and bulky, and their turning radius is so wide that you can't squeeze through the choke and block Indian traffic conditions. These bikes are meant for interstate super express highways, but for Indian city roads and for Indian countryside small roads, these bikes are very cumbersome and impractical. To sum it all, I once again submit that I am not an expert, but I have some experience on two wheelers and cycles and motorcycles. Okay, be that as it may. Now, coming back to the topic of the day, first thing first, why did I buy this bike? Well, primarily there are three main reasons. The first reason was budget. I had kept my upper limit of 4 lakh rupees for my new bike. Though I am quite passionate about bikes, but I don't want to burst up all my money on new bike. I'd rather save money on the initial cost and use that money on fuel, hotel stay and other traveling expenses. The second reason was riding pleasure and practicality. And the last but not the least was the snob value or the looks. And boy, does she look beautiful? Yes, it does. In fact, in this price range, it is the most beautiful looking bike available in India today. Not only it looks beautiful, but this bike kind of is an all-rounder. It ticks almost all the columns of a good bike for the Indian roads. This I am talking on relative terms. We all know that no bike is perfect. Every bike has its pros and cons. Some bike is good for road, some bike is good for off-road and things like that. In fact, last year I was considering following bikes within the upper limit of rupees 4 lakh. This is not a comparison test, but I'm only telling that why did I choose RR 310 over these bikes. The first bike on my list was KTM Adventure, but I found the height a bit too high, especially on off-road conditions where the roads are uneven and if the bike tilts, one falls down easily if the seat is too high. And there were issues of traction control, and some people were telling that low end torque is not good and blah blah, all those things. The next bike on the list was Dominar, but I have ridden Dominar a lot. I found that the Dominar is very top heavy and it's not at all comfortable in cities. It's not very nimble, agile and flickable. The front end is very heavy. And second reason was there that the fuel economy is very poor. It hardly gives less than 25 kilometers to a liter. The list was Honda Highness 350, but I found that bike a bit underpowered, and also the looks are not very inspiring. It looks like any commuter bike. I steered clear of RE Classic, Meteor, and Himalaya because of quality issues on Royal Enfield bikes. Moreover, I have had my fill of RE Classic 500. I have ridden the bike a lot, and I wanted to try a new kind of bike, something sports bike kind of thing. Next on the list was Ninja 300. I found that bike to be a good bike, but the ground clearance is very low, somewhere around 130 mm, and the maintenance cost and service cost and spares is extremely costly. So, friends, the moment I went to Apache showroom to check out RR310, the very first sight, and I fell for the bike. I took out the bike for the test ride, and I found the bike very nimble, agile, and flickable. The front end is very light, and the bike is a real pleasure to ride. It's a sports bike, but the riding geometry is not very aggressive, and with slight modification, you can make it a good sports tourer. The weight distribution of this motorcycle is so good that you don't feel the 174 kgs weight of this motorcycle. In this price range, no other bike can beat it in the looks department. And power, though not it is in the league of KTM 390s, but it's good enough to cruise whole day in over 135 km per hour speed. As it is on Indian roads, it's not safe to go over 135 kmph. Even after 1 year of usage, it makes many head turn. People stop me and ask me about its cost, mileage, and performance, etc. Moreover, even with this kind of performance, it easily gives me the mileage of over 36 km per liter on highways and around 29 to 32 kmpl in city traffic. Servicing and maintenance cost is much lesser than the other entry level sports bikes. With oil change, the servicing cost is around 2000 to 2200, and without oil change it is in the range of 600 to 800 rupees, which is quite economical. The other goodie in the bike is its instrument cluster, which looks like a mobile phone, and it gives you tons and tons of information. The display quality is very good, and during the bright sunny day and during night also, the visibility of instrument cluster is extremely good. The other good thing about this bike is its suspension. Its suspensions are very well tuned, and you don't feel a thing on bad roads and on the big speed breakers on Indian roads. The suspensions are very comfortable, yet they are tight enough to hold its line on the curvy mountain roads and on hairpin bends. Well, so much for the good things about this bike. As regards to its negative, well, I didn't find many, but whatever its negative I felt, I'm listing it below. Its Bluetooth connectivity and on-screen display, navigation display, is not up to the mark. The navigation display gives very selective information and you can't rely on it. You will have to install your mobile phone somewhere on your console area to find your way out. Another issue with this bike is its software bug in the ECU software. The engine malfunction display comes on suddenly, and it remains in your display. It keeps showing engine malfunction, engine malfunction. Though when this engine malfunction display comes on, I have never suffered any performance loss or any other issue on the bike. So far, this engine malfunction sign has not caused me any problem other than the nuisance value. It kind of unsettles your concentration, and you feel uncomfortable seeing the sign on the screen. I did some research and found out that there are few reasons for this sign to come up. Some of these reasons are uh, the sensors. There are various sensors in this bike, like your side stand sensor. If your stand is not properly up, then also this engine malfunction comes up. Also, in your under your seat area where you keep your toolbox and other papers, there also sensors are there. If once I readjusted my toolkit and other things, the engine malfunction sign vanished. And in service station, the service executive, he told me that the power loss issue with the engine malfunction sign was there in BS4 model, but later the TVS adjusted it, and now there is no issue of power loss or any actual performance drop. It's only that software bug kind of thing which comes because of various sensors in this bike. The other problem I faced with this bike is its off-road, slight off-road capabilities, especially when the loose mud is there or slight slush is there. The tires are not good enough to hold its line. Don't get me wrong, the Michelin tires are excellent tire for the road, but I'm talking about its off-road capabilities. Though its ground clearance is very good, around 180 mm, it is good enough for slight off-road. But the tires are extremely poor for slight off-road. Even Splendors and Activas are having better tire for slight off-road than this bike. I'm not sure, but I think I'll install off-road tires once this original tire wears off. Well, these were the minor issues. The biggest problem I find in this bike is of pillion comfort, or shall I say pillion discomfort, and its baggage carrying capabilities. This seat is so narrow that it's very uncomfortable for pillion. Also, the angle is sloping downwards this way, and the moment you apply brake, the pillion tend to fall down. So pillion discomfort is one thing, and another issue was with the baggage. Baggage issues are also there because in this bike the pannier stay and top racks are not easily available. The entire market I hunted Delhi, I hunted Dehradun, I even searched YouTube. So the pannier stay and tops rack is not available easily in the market. But then what they say, every problem has a solution, and I did find the solution. I got this seat cover installed in the local market. Both cushioning effect is there. Now it's a bit comfortable. And as regards to pillion falling forward, I managed to get this top rack plus backrest, and this is how we manage. So this backrest is there, and it gave a psychological support. Otherwise the pillion used to think that he or she will fall down, and if not down, they will fall back. So this is how the support is there. And with regards to body falling forward, I got this seat belt kind of thing installed. So you just have to pull this up, and it is fixed with velcro. This is how now it becomes like a seat belt kind of thing, and both the hands are free. Otherwise in this bike one had to hold the grab rail constantly, but now with the seat belt, and it's very easy to remove also. So she is one happy lady now.